Coming up on At the Heart of It with Nancy Brown.
It's so much easier to bring people joy. People coming to me saying, your story isn't tragic. Your story is triumphant. Occupy the space you're in because it's yours.
A comforting face on morning news. That's how most of us know Michelle Miller, national correspondent and co-host of CBS Saturday Morning. Each week, she delivers powerful stories to millions of households, keeping us informed and building community. Michelle truly makes a difference in the lives of others through her career and her perspective. Today, we'll talk with her about her experiences as a journalist, wife, mother, daughter, and what she has learned about resilience. Welcome to At the Heart of It. I'm Nancy Brown, CEO of the American Heart Association.
Michelle Miller reports on groundbreaking events that change our lives and our world. The award-winning journalist covers it all, from presidential elections to royal coronations, from social justice to the climate crisis, from assault allegations to human trafficking, to gun violence in our schools and communities. Recently, her focus has shifted inwards to tell a story that is emotional and intimate. In her recent memoir, Michelle's quest to uncover her family history is filled with love and loss, but it's also full of resiliency as she discovers that your voice is your own, and what you do with it is entirely up to you.
Michelle, thank you so much for being here today. I'm so honored to have a chance to sit down with you.
Thank you for having me.
I'd like to ask you some questions. I call these my signature 5. Are you ready?
I know, and I was so nervous because you...
Don't be nervous. These are easy. I promise.
I don't have the answer.
Oh, you'll have the answer.
Okay.
Are you ready?
All right.
Bagel or beignet?
See, bagel, beignet, it depends on my mood. Bagel is me like feeling I want something hale and hearty and I'm ready for some calories.
What is your favorite family tradition?
Favorite family tradition, anything that requires us getting together and going to someplace we've never been. It's not so much a tradition, but I love adventure and discovery. So that is, I force the family.
I was gonna say, do you have to drag them along or do they enjoy it?
If I can get us all on the same timetable.
That would be amazing, huh? That in of itself is a feat. Hardback, Audible, or Kindle?
I love a good hardback because it seems to just sort of like encase. And so that's hardback for work, Audible for just anything else.
I love the smell of a hardback book myself. Like, to me, that's what reading really is. Broadway or ballet?
Broadway. Even though I'm on the board of the School of American Ballet, I just love Broadway.
Where is your favorite sunset?
Oh, you're killing me. One of the most amazing sunsets I've ever had the pleasure of witnessing was actually it's in the Masai Mara of Kenya. There was a spiritual aspect to it that I quite frankly have never experienced.
You have worked in newsrooms all over the country. When did you first fall in love with journalism and decide you were going to pursue a career in the field?
I fell in love with journalism at Howard University at WHBC, which was the student radio station. And I just built upon that. Internships at ABC News, at the Star Tribune, at the LA Times. And that just catapulted me. One of the most important things I did was that I became a member of the National Association of Black Journalists. So having a group of professionals behind me, mentors, meant everything to my trajectory and just pointing me in the right direction. And I would encourage all young people to make sure that they have mentors and sponsors and people who are looking out for them and giving them advice on how to handle situations. Because we're young, we don't know sometimes how to handle things.
And sometimes we think we know everything and we don't.
Funny how that works, right?
Yeah.
Why do kids think they know everything?
I don't know. And the older we get, the more we can see the things that we wish someone would have told us when we were young. So you have been at CBS in a long time. You've had a rich and amazing career.
I came along at the tail end of that age where you really had to sort of earn your chops, and you weren't always guaranteed a slot. I have clearly grown as a journalist. I've grown as a broadcaster, and I've had some knocks throughout my career. And I always, I wear those as badges of honor, because again, it's that point of not knowing what you don't know and making sure that you are open to receiving all the advice and all the critiques and all of those things that are going to hone and make you better.
It is really important always to learn from things that didn't go exactly as we wanted. You've done some really phenomenal interviews. Tell us about some of your favorites.
Oh my gosh, you're putting me on the spot. It's so hard to think back. Phenomenal. My first phenomenal celebrity interview is going to surprise you.
Okay.
James Earl Jones.
Really?
He was such a delight, and to be such an icon, a legend in this industry, and to meet someone still yet so humble and still that had so much more to give and was still honing his craft was a valuable lesson to me, and also just gave me such hope that the longevity we all long for in our careers, that's still open to us. He is willing to do it all. He can be the lead, or he can be a supporting actor, and he still garners that kind of presence. But I think of him. I think of Wangari with Maathai, who was an amazing. I call her a philanthropist, but she was an ecological warrior, and she won the Nobel Peace Prize in Africa. And she was on a mission to make her part of the world a little better and so inspire the globe.
I love it. You must have a big dream list of people that you want to talk to and an incredible list of people that you have talked to. But I want to switch because the tables have turned on you a little bit. Now you're not the interviewer. Sometimes you are the interviewee. With your book, people are interviewing you now. How does that feel?
I'm totally on the spot, and now I have some empathy for those folks who may not always have the answer in their mind of what is the perfect answer. But, you know, I also have a sense of the evolution of thought. I wrote the book, Belonging, and the process of writing it, the evolution of my feelings towards things, the way I see things, the lens sort of changes as you age, and it keeps changing. And I'm seeing all of these different perspectives coming out of me just since the book has been out, and expressing it to people. And then also having conversations with other people who give me input as to what resonated with them, and also those aha moments they glean from it. It's like a constant conversation and an evolution in how I see things.
People aren't mind readers, and so many people are willing to help if you just ask.
Yeah, they are.
So speaking of honors, you also were just honored by your alma mater, Howard University. So you got the Alumni Award for Distinguished Postgraduate Achievement. What did it feel like when they called to tell you?
Oh my gosh, I'm getting a little verklempt. When you said that, it took me right back to the moment that I was on stage receiving that honor in March. Howard University has been such a mainstay in my life because I'm a third generation Howardite. Howard was an institution that was there and solidified my grandmother's educational and professional opportunities. She went there from 1912 to 1916. She was there at the forefront of the suffragist movement. The March on Washington of 1913 was happening her freshman year. Can you imagine, you know, what it was like for her as a young African-American woman in the nation's capital to see women out there fighting for their right to vote. And then I think of my father, and my husband's family has a Howard tradition as well. His grandfather went to the medical school in the 20s. And then my father went to the medical school and undergraduate school in the 40s, graduated in 1951. And so when I think of, you know, places that have meant and exposed my family and myself to opportunity, to excellence. It is instilled so much in me. And I'm just, if my grandmother and my father, I just wish they had been alive to see, to see that this kid that they bet on not only made them, they would have made them proud, but I made the institution proud.
And I bet you standing up there, I can just tell, like you had all of that flooding through your mind at that moment, which, good for you, because we stand on the shoulders of those before us. And what a tradition your family has had at Howard. We love Howard University at the HA. We work with all the HBCUs to help inspire young people to go into the field of medicine, and we give scholarships, and we have created our own community of belonging of these HBCU scholars. And I just see the excellence, and it makes you feel so good about the future when you see young people at HBCU.
I think of my grandfather who died of heart disease. I think of, my dad was already in the profession. I just think that it's so key for us to, give back and make sure that we're on the right trajectory, to make sure that, folks get the proper education about their health, to get the proper, notice of how they are in control and they are in power of themselves to do what's right and to make sure that they, walk the path.
We all need to see people that we have a trusting relationship with. And so this focus on encouraging, many people from many backgrounds to go into medicine is so important. I know New Orleans has a special place in your heart. Tell us about your relationship with that great city and, of course, how important New Orleans has been to your family.
I became an anchor and a reporter, and I met my husband there and, started my life there. My first child there, had footing, for a career there. Later, when he came to New York and became the head of the National Urban League after, spending 8 years as the mayor of the city of New Orleans, following in the footsteps of his father, the first African-American mayor of the city of New Orleans, and having like such lineage in civil rights and activism, and pioneer building, it's kind of hard to be just average when you have like someone standing next to you who represents so much. And so I think I was already, like pretty okay. I was doing my thing. I was very independent. But I think for me, Mark really, by example, was my North Star. He just, it's just, when you have a partner who is leaning in all the time and is a bestower of excellence and just believes in doing the right thing, you can only, strive to be better and better.
I would bet you money if I were sitting here with him today, he would say that you're his North Star. I would bank on that.
Aww.
I would totally bank on that. Speaking of North Stars, your father, Dr. Ross Miller, was a remarkable man, an activist. He was involved in his community, Compton's first Black city councilman. In fact, he was the first doctor to tend to Robert F. Kennedy at his assassination in 1968. What was he like as a dad? How did he inform your worldview as you were growing up?
Well, there are a couple of things I think that he did for me first. He was always the person, I just remember the hands on my back pushing forward. There was never any coddling. There was never any excuse making with him. He wasn't a braggart about the things he did for me. I recall going back to a reunion and finding out that my father was like, he was the president of the PTA all the years. And so like little things like that I think that he took great care, especially in my education, making sure I was at the best school in the city, making sure that, I had the opportunities.
And it's so clear what a difference he made in your life. That's amazing. Those words, I have faith in you, are really great. And it sort of kind of carries back into your book. You know, the thought of writing down your feelings in this book, it must have been both personally and professionally very exhilarating. Tell us, like, how did you bring your whole self into the book, and what did that do for your own mental health and well-being?
I essentially exposed my whole life story to people. The only thing that I can say in that vulnerability is that people appreciate it, and two, it resonated in a way that people were willing to do the things that they found they needed to do. So people coming to me saying that, who've been friends of mine for 15, 20 years, who say, you know, I am the secret child. I'm gonna go find the parent. And I knew I wasn't alone. I knew there were so many other people out there like me. And that's the only reason that I wrote the book. I mean, people think my story is fascinating. I was like, you guys, there are tons of people out there like me. And someone said, yeah, and that's why you need to write it, because your story isn't tragic, right? Your story is triumphant.
In a way, you've given people permission to talk about things that they might, you know, have compartmentalized way in the back.
So much so that, in fact, I think my father gave me permission when he told me, go find your mother. So I think a lot of children who are abandoned, or not just abandoned, but, you know, who are adopted, feel a sense of, they would feel like they were betraying the parents who they do have, if they go seek and find. But, you know, sort of, I never thought of finding my mother, going to look for her, until my father gave me the permission to do it.
You have a phrase that you say, wherever I am is where I belong. I love that, because I think for so many people who don't feel they belong, what a powerful statement. What do you intend by those words, and how do you hope that will change people's lives?
It's really a rallying call to people who seek to make people feel like outsiders. I'm still very much a work in progress, and certainly I'm on a mission to make people feel like, hey, occupy the space you're in, because it's yours.
You know, they often say that people will not remember you by what you've done or what you've said, but by how you make them feel.
Absolutely.
And I really believe that, because I can think back of people in my life, you know, that have really mattered to me, or maybe someone I met one time, and I don't remember necessarily what they said, or even sometimes the circumstance, but you get a feeling in your heart, especially for those people, that made you feel special.
Mm-hmm. I think about the turns and the choices you made based on those feelings. It takes an instant to change somebody's life. It could be an instant, it could be an hour, it could be a day, it could be a week, but people can have such great impact. It can be a positive impact, it can be a negative impact. So don't be a negative impact, be a positive impact. Yes. In those moments, in those days, in those weeks. Be positive.
Tell me what the word resilience means to you, and how do you help other people find resilience?
Just keep standing.
Yeah.
Just keep moving in a direction of where you feel you need to go. And resiliency it's like a wave, you know, it's you are in the sea, and there are actions, motions coming in all sorts of directions. It's just your ability to ride the wave and keep surfing.
Michelle, this has been an incredible discussion. Thank you so much for sharing so much of yourself. Thank you for sharing your life in your book. You have impacted more people than you will ever know. We are so grateful to you for giving us a peek inside. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Michelle Miller isn't afraid to ask hard questions, and that's just one of many, many reasons I admire her. Looking far and wide and deep within takes practice, but Michelle's career and memoir prove that the more you do it, the more resilient you'll become. How does your family communicate? Are you the one who asks the hard questions? I would love to hear from you, so comment below, hit subscribe, and join me here next time for more inspiring conversations. From my heart to yours, thank you for watching.